Am I the asshole for ruining my boyfriend's birthday party? My boyfriend just turned 30 on Wednesday and had a big party to celebrate it. I hadn't been feeling well the last couple weeks leading up to it, but I was determined to make his birthday a great one. Due to my job and financial reasons, I haven't been able to take many days off, so I scheduled a doctor's appointment the morning of his birthday so I could celebrate in the evening. I found out I was pregnant during the appointment and was ecstatic. We've been trying for a baby for 6 years and I thought this would be the perfect present for him. When I got home, there were a few people already there for the party. I asked my boyfriend if we could speak in private and he ignored me. I asked again and he told me that if it was so important I could wait 5 minutes while he talked to his friend. So I just told him. He got extremely mad and started yelling in my face about how I was trying to ruin his day and that today was supposed to be about him and not me. He told all the people there to leave and messaged everybody else to not come because I ruined the day. He then stormed out the house and still hasn't come back. I'm still so shocked and confused. He was so excited to try for a baby, but his reaction made no sense. My mom said that while it is a great surprise, I probably should have waited as it was his day. So am I the asshole? Not the asshole at all. Good luck raising 2 children. Not the asshole. First, he ruined his own birthday by being an asshole. Second, are you sure you want a kid with this guy? I'm not sure what the rest of your relationship is like, but he shouted at you after you told him you were pregnant and after you'd been sick for a couple weeks. That's a red flag. His reaction is highly suspect. You two need to have a frank conversation about where you want to go from here. I suspect you're not communicating properly. He was so excited to try for a baby. Trying and doing are 2 different things. Apparently, he is not so enthused about the doing part. Not the asshole. I mean, I don't understand why you couldn't just wait, but his reaction is so over the top. Not the asshole. Do not have a baby with this man. He should have been thrilled and instead he was cruel and disrespectful to you. He's showing you who he really is. A man who really wanted a child would think your news was the greatest gift he could receive on any day, but especially on his birthday. Instead he acted like a mean, selfish, rude child. Not the asshole, and if he thinks this is taking attention away from him, I really worry about how he will feel when a baby comes into the picture. There are some men out there who end up viewing the baby as competition, for some bizarre reason. Also, seeing your other comments, I understand you've been together a while and he's your only relationship, but there is a lot of red flags in how you are describing this and him. Most people, especially if they have been trying for years, would be ecstatic to hear this news, especially on their birthday. His reaction is a huge red flag. Not the asshole. Congrats on your 2nd child. Am I the asshole for calling my ex-husband and telling him that his wife forced our daughter to babysit? My 34F ex-husband, 40M, married a woman, 36F, with 4 children, 1M, 11 and 11F, 14M. 6 years ago, we have a mutual daughter, 15, who has told me before how she tries to impose a relationship between her and her step-siblings. My daughter is a very introvert, shy girl. She's told me that her time together with the kids is usually watching movies or spending time with her dad, and that she doesn't like being left alone with them because she's too easily distracted and they're always running and doesn't listen to her, but that his stepmom is always scolding her because that's not the type of relationship she wants them to have. Both my ex-husband and I've talked to her and she's always insisting that as their older sister, she should be more involved with them, as in babysitting, diaper change, offering to wake up with the baby and take care of him for an hour or 2, but my daughter doesn't feel comfortable with that kind of responsibility, and I get it. Not everyone is made to take care of babies. My daughter was invited to this party, more like a reunion, 5–10 people all vax, during Sunday and was super excited about it. My ex and his wife had a wedding that same day, so the plan was that they dropped the kids with her sister around 2 p.m. and my daughter with their friend after that. I thought that was what they did until around 5 p.m. my daughter called me and told me that she left her with all the kids and the baby needed his diaper changed and she didn't know how to do it. She was crying and scared, so I drove there and took care of them. I called my ex and asked what the fuck, and he told me that my daughter said she didn't wanted to go to the party anymore, but my daughter told me that his wife forced her to say it because she was done with her laziness, so she say she didn't deserve to have fun and had to work for it. He obviously got mad and drove back immediately. I left with my daughter when they came. He came back yesterday to apologize to my daughter, and apparently he's thinking about divorce because she endangered all 5 kids and she's calling me an asshole for babying my kid. Not the asshole at all. Your ex's wife wants your daughter to provide free childcare while pretending she wants them to bond as siblings. That's why she is the AITA. Not the asshole. Your ex-husband's wife has a screw loose if she thinks her 15-year-old stepdaughter should get up in the middle of the night to take care of her infant. If she wants someone to mind her children, she can pay for a sitter or have her 14-year-old son help out. It doesn't matter what type of relationship her stepmother wants her to have with her children. That decision is your daughter's. At least you're able to communicate effectively with her father to try and resolve this problem. Not the asshole. Do not under any circumstances allow your daughter to go back to that house while that woman lives there. At least your ex is on the same page as you. He can come to your place if he wants to see her. Good job getting her out of there. Not the asshole. Parentification, which is what your ex's wife is doing to your daughter, is child abuse. Taking care of the baby overnight, changing its diaper, etc. is absolutely not the job of a 15-year-old. And a 15-year-old should definitely not be left alone with 4 kids. I'm assuming she's not insisting that her 14-year-old is also responsible for helping with babysitting, caring for his younger siblings. She absolutely endangered at least her baby, if not the rest of the kids, your daughter included, by leaving them alone without any adult supervision for at least 3 hours. Not the asshole. It's not babying your child. She's 15 and to leave her with that many kids on her own is just awful parenting. Good for you and her father for standing up for her. Not the asshole. Your daughter is not your ex and his wife's nanny. Depending on the state you live in, your daughter should be old enough to decide who she wants to stay with full time. It sounds like your ex's new wife is intimidating your daughter and it is not a safe environment for her emotional well-being. If your ex can't get his wife to stay in her place, then you need to do what you have to as a mother to make sure your daughter isn't being exploited by her stepmother for childcare. Shouldn't your husband have known she was evil stepmonster before marrying her? And a 1-year-old? Is that your husband's kid? I am so confused. But yeah, not the asshole. That lady can't force your kid to babysit, but your dater also needs to learn how to say no. Not the asshole. In your shoes, I would tell the ex that he could visit daughter alone, take her to a movie and/or dinner, but that it wasn't good for daughter's well-being to be around his wife or stepkids. Am I the asshole for putting over 100 cockroaches in my parents' bed? I'm 16, so I live with my parents. I started having asthma symptoms a couple years ago, but only when I was trying to sleep. I would be unable to breathe. I've been brought to all sorts of specialists and put on various allergy drugs because the best they could tell us was that it must be an allergy. Around the same time that started, I began seeing an occasional cockroach in my room. I would squish it and throw it out. Then the air coming from my vents started smelling musty. And I would see more and more cockroaches. I told my parents all of this and they are convinced there's not a cockroach problem. I've been seeing about 15–20 cockroaches in my room, any time of day, night, every day for months. My parents keep telling me that I'm being dramatic, it's just an occasional cockroach. I've done some research and supposedly cockroaches can cause respiratory problems. My parents refuse to call a bug exterminator person. I'm really tired of living with these things. I can hear them crawling in the walls of my room. They're in my bed. I feel them crawl on me while I'm trying to go to sleep. And no, I don't eat in my room. I used to have a bowl of soup in my room if was sick at home, but I stopped because of the cockroaches since I don't want to attract them. I started taking a photo of every one I killed and sending the picture to my parents. So again, 15–20 pictures a day. They got pissed I'm bothering them at work and that I'm sending a photo of the same dead cockroach over and over. Like literally they were going to ground me over winter break if kept doing it. So instead, over this past week I've been keeping the dead ones a bag marked with the date and then the number of cockroach it was. There was 118 of them over 7 days. I dumped all the little bags on my parents' bed, so the actual dead cockroaches didn't touch their bed, just the bags. My parents are livid. They're arguing about what to do about me like I can hear them, and in the meantime I've been sent to my room. I just really don't know how to get across how uncomfortable I am constantly. These things are alive when they're in my bed. I really don't know how else to make them see this as a problem, but this might have been the nuclear option and I could have just shown them the bags in my room. AITA? Tell a teacher and show them the photos so they can call DCF. That'll surely make your parents take some action. Not the asshole. You need to call CPS. You are not the asshole. Your parents are pretty disgusting for allowing this to continue, especially since it's causing you breathing problems. Do your parents own the place you live in, or do they rent? If they rent, you could try to find out the landlord's contact info because usually they are responsible for exterminators unless it says otherwise in the lease. You can calmly tell your parents either they call an exterminator or you are going to tell all of your family members, your teachers, your doctor, your clergy person, anyone and everyone you can think of. Some on that list are mandated reporters and hopefully it will motivate your parents to step up. I'm sorry but this just makes my skin crawl. I absolutely hate cockroaches. I don't think you are an asshole for doing what you did. It's actually pretty admirable that you documented the evidence like you did. You didn't say if your parents were renting or if they owned the home. Is it the costs that keep them from calling an exterminator? It's still a health issue and has to be taken care of. In my state, the health department, either state or county, would be my next rebel step. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. In a past career, back in the 90s, so I'd say I'm probably old enough to be your grandparents' age, I used to do home inspections for rental courts. I was considered an expert witness. Cockroaches usually stay to where there's a readily available food source, kitchens or the bathroom, since they also like the atmosphere of the bathroom. If you've got them in a bedroom closet, you've got big problems. As someone else has said, gather evidence and go to a child protection office, and tell your doctor. Get help from professional adults who can speak to your parents for you. Not the asshole. Cockroaches can be very bad for asthma. Your parents are failing you. There are low-cost traps that can be set out and kills them quickly. Can you get some money to buy some to put around your room until they can get an exterminator? Or ask an aunt or uncle to get you some. You need only a few in a small space, and it will discourage the roaches from coming back. You could fog your room but it is uninhabitable for a while, and since you have asthma you should sleep someplace else. Your parents need to take action ASAP. I was so prepared to say YTA from the title and say that no matter how much you've been mistreated, revenge is as always an asshole move. But this wasn't revenge. You have been trying to convince them of a problem for months and they refused to listen. Were there other ways to have the conversation and try convincing them? Sure. But given your age and the fact that they were threatening to ground you for trying to present photographic evidence, what you did was reasonable. Not the asshole. Here is a list of things cockroaches can carry and spread. Dysentery, typhoid fever, cholera, both bubonic and pneumonic plague, salmonellosis, gastroenteritis, poliomyelitis, and leprosy. And these are the North American varieties. 26% of humans are also allergic to cockroaches, and this allergy can develop through exposure to them, and you have an increasing chance of developing this allergy the longer they are in your home. They also exacerbate asthma and other allergies. These things are no joke. You are not the asshole for doing whatever needs to be done to protect your health. Talk to a teacher or the parents of a friend. Bring it up to a teacher or a doctor. Am I the asshole for not letting my sister move in with me after our parents kicked her out? Too long did not read. My sister is lesbian. I told her not to tell our parents because they would kick her out and she can't live with me. She told our parents and they kicked her out and I still said she can't live with me. I, 23M, have two younger sisters, Amanda, 17F, and Hannah, 14F, who still live with our parents. My older brother, Josh, 26M, is in the military. I have lived on my own since going to university and graduating. Our parents aren't great people. They're loving to us, but they verge on white supremacists and are blatantly homophobic. They're also very Christian, and because of these things, we don't keep in touch often. About a month, I was having lunch with Amanda and she came out to me as lesbian. I told her I was proud of her and asked her if she had told anyone else. She said she didn't want to tell Hannah because she's a fair bit younger, and wanted to tell Josh in person. She also said she wanted to tell our parents, but was scared of their reaction. Since this is her last year in school, I advised her to wait until she was an adult with an income before telling them. I pointed out that since they're very homophobic, she might be kicked out of the house. She asked if she told them, she could live with me or Josh. First, no, she can't live with Josh because he's in the military. As for me, I gently but firmly said no. I have a limited income, a tiny flat, and I don't have the money or time to properly care for her. I again advised her to wait until she graduated to tell them. She said that was probably a good idea, and we finished lunch without discussing it further. Last night, I got a call from Amanda, who was at a friend's house. She said she had decided to tell them because she didn't want to live like someone she wasn't and asked if she could stay at mine. I was pissed, but tried to stay calm. I told her that I stood by what I said before and that she can't live with me. She started crying and told me I wasn't accepting her and that I was just as bad as our parents before hanging up on me. I felt like shit and a terrible brother, but that being said, I had previously told her she couldn't live with me and she only has another term at school before she graduates and can figure herself out without being completely dependent on our parents. I'm a bit stuck on what to do here, so am I the asshole or am I morally fine? ETA. I am not in the US and it's legal for our parents to kick her out here. ETA 2. Comment that I made that explains my situation fairly well. Sorry for not being clear in the original post. It's not just about the small space. I have almost no money. I work the night shift, so I can avoid using lights during the day. I take very short showers to cut down on hot water. I can barely feed myself and most of the time I'm still hungry. I don't have the means to let Amanda live with me. Not the asshole. You told her you couldn't help her, you can't give what you don't have. As much as it sucks that she's kicked out, it was her decision to come out now instead of wait. Please help her to get in touch with organizations that support LGBTQ+, queer youth and provide housing so she can finish school. Not the asshole. You warned her that you do not have the funds nor the space. Would the place you live even allow a second person to live there? Some people are blaming you for not supporting her, but from your writing it reads to me like this just happened and she basically hung up on you. In my opinion, she is a bit of an asshole for blasting you as being just like your parents, when that is not the reason. She is just lashing out under stress, but really not great. From your other responses, it sounds like you are trying to find her some support in the community. Hopefully she will take your calls if you find something. The one saying YTA here need to realize OP literally cannot take her in. No space and no money, even that OP barely has enough money to feed themselves and still goes hungry. How can they be expected to shelter and feed a whole other person? Not the asshole. You said she couldn't live with you before all of this even started. It's your house and your rules. You set a boundary, and then she got upset when you wouldn't budge. Not the asshole. You warned her that you could not financially support her if your parents kicked her out. Being unable to care for someone doesn't make you the asshole for not doing so. I can't blame her for not wanting to hide who she is from your patents. There is nothing wrong with being honest with people you love, so she is not the asshole for coming out. This is a very tough situation and I can understand why she is upset. Even if she was warned, she probably thought she could depend on you to take her in if she really needed it, but if you can't, then there is nothing you can do about it. Your parents are the asshole in this situation for the very obvious reasons. Not the asshole, but this really sucks. Can you offer her other support? Help her get in contact with services that might help? Buy her some groceries? Help her get a job? Not the asshole. I mean, aside from your parents. They are definitely Oz. You gave her a very solid advice. She knows your parents well. She knows they are homophobic. If you have the means, support her. Doesn't matter how money, moral support, help with school stuff, anything. Info. What is Josh's stance on LGBTQ+ people? Not the asshole. You told her up front that staying with you was not an option. I'm all for being authentic and honest about who we are as people, but there comes a time when you have to decide between authenticity and basic survival.